What is going on, everyone? So I am super excited to talk about a new company that I have not covered on this channel before, SEALSQ, ticker symbol LAES. I did want to follow up from a couple of my recent videos. I want to talk about Rigetti price action after earnings, which surprised me a little bit, and I think it surprised a lot of people in the market today. I also want to talk about BigBear.ai, and we saw that they missed expectations. They reported after earnings. And finally, I want to do a deep dive into SEALSQ and see what's kind of going on under the hood there. If you enjoy content like this, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So another painful day in the market for a lot of investors. NVIDIA surprisingly was down 5.74%. Amazon down 3.68%, Meta down 4%, Microsoft down 1%, and Rigetti just missed earnings. And you guessed it, Rigetti was up 4.3% today. And I cover quantum stocks all the time. I don't know why. And like I said yesterday on the channel, if the price dipped as it did pre-market here, and it gapped down, I was happy to pick up more and build my position after seeing a response. And it was really interesting. In fact, the price action, as Rigetti has always been, is pretty aggressive in the move from the morning. So from the evening to the morning, let's see. So we're going to measure the move from the evening to the morning. And we saw, which was a pretty explosive move. So in 24 bars, we see 20.67% increase to open the day for Rigetti. So Rigetti came out swinging today when the rest of the market looked like this. It was quite shocking. I have a lot of different equities in my portfolio, and Rigetti was the only one in the green. So I was watching it with interest today, and we see that there's some sell-off, and that's to be expected when there's a run like this. And we actually end the day up 4%. Later in this video, we're going to cover SEALSQ, ticker symbol LAES, which has had some nice gains over the past few days. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the general market. So we are in a state of extreme fear. And what does that mean for you as an investor, or what does that mean for the economy? Well, there's a lot of reasons right now to be fearful, to be afraid. We're in a really unpredictable climate right now where there's a lot of policies being changed, tariffs on allies and foes. The world order seems to be shifting, and the federal government is being downsized pretty aggressively. We're seeing some concerning economic signs that we're perhaps headed towards inflation or stagflation or even a recession. So there's just if I wanted to simplify this and make this as simple as possible, why we're seeing such extreme fear is because I can't really remember the last time I saw a good headline. It's all kind of been bad news lately, or it's been, I don't want to say all bad news, because of course there's good things happening all the time, but it sure has felt like economically and with stocks. And you even saw this with NVIDIA. When NVIDIA reported earnings, they had a sell-off afterwards, and they still have not really done anything since their earnings, and they beat expectations on earnings. So we are in an environment of extreme fear, and that's something to keep in mind if you're holding growth stocks. If you're looking to get into the market, this is a challenging time right now because we're seeing some pullback in the market, and that's completely natural, and it happens in markets all the time. We can go back and look at any index, and we can see these pullbacks. The data's all there. So what makes this moment a little bit more unique is that we have a president and we have Elon Musk, who has a lot of power and control currently in the government as an unelected official, who is cleaning house in the federal government. And what does that mean for our institutions and agencies? And what does that mean for the future of the United States? And not assuming that all of you live in the United States, but it is a very perplexing time right now to even be able to predict what's happening. And if there's one thing investors hate, it's uncertainty. So that's kind of the state of things. And I just want to touch base on BigBear.ai earnings. Okay, so I'll be perfectly honest with you. I read an interesting comment, and I think this is true. I think that investors in today's market, especially new investors, are just looking to make a lot of money quick. And that might have worked in the last 2 years in our raging bull market in 2023 and 2024. But we're looking at a little bit of a different market. We're looking at a more uncertain market. So plays that worked for the last 2 years, it may not work as well. And ultimately, trying to time the market, you're just better off investing, holding over a long period of time. If you believe in the underlying companies and the companies are solid financially, or you believe in the promise of what the company will bring, that's a better long-term strategy. So let's take a look at BigBear.ai. So Big Bear had some big bear expectations, and they came up well short. And their adjusted EPS came in at negative 0.43, missing estimates of 0.06. For the full year, Big Bear estimates between $160 and $180 million. So the guidance is a little weak as well, falling short of the $193 million that analysts were expecting. The company also forecasts negative single-digit millions in adjusted EBITDA for 2025. I did read some interesting and positive posts on Reddit about BigBear.ai, and despite the earnings miss, there are some silver linings. The gross margin improved to 37.4% in Q4 2024 so gross margin improved to 37.4% in Q4 from 32.1% in 2023. You like to see that gross margins are improving. The company also reported a backlog of $418 million as of December 31st, 2024, up 2.5 times from the prior year. Now that right there, if you're expecting perfect financials out of a company that hasn't had perfect financials, all of this information, you're also looking in 2025 in quarter one at some of these government contracts, right? So the next earnings from Big Bear could be a lot more interesting. And it looks like they're very potentially conservative in their forecasts. So if Big Bear beats their own guidance, then I think that's a good sign. And you do see some signs of growth with Big Bear. I wanted to take a look a little bit more at the financials for Big Bear. And so we have BigBear.ai, which trades on the New York Stock Exchange at a price currently at close of $420, and a small cap company that is just right at the $1 billion range. Probably tomorrow, we'll see that the stock will sell off. And we can look at price action from today. After market, we saw a pretty big drop and we're sitting around $3.61 after hours. So pretty significant drop from a close. And Big Bear, like a lot of other growth stocks in the market, has been on a downtrend as the market conditions have grown a bit more risk off. So we see that at one point, Big Bear in the last month was trading at $9.80. So let's dig into the financials a little bit more. So if we look at the way that Big Bear moves, Big Bear has always had push-ups and sell-offs, push-ups, sell-offs, valleys, push-ups, long valley here, long valley here. What feels different about this one, and I think what a lot of investors are intrigued by this. So I think what investors were particularly interested in with Big Bear is that particular rally. There was a pretty significant move. Like you would have seen if you were in at $2.50, you would have seen a 4x on your money in this move. So really, quite a different move than we've seen since all the way back in early 2022 from Big Bear. And like I said in my video last night, if they would have beat on expectations, I think we would have seen some pretty aggressive moves to the upside because Big Bear is on a lot of radars. Like I see it talked about all the time, and I think people are rooting for Big Bear. I don't think anyone has super negative feelings. It's kind of adjacent to Palantir. They are partners with Palantir. So it's not a company that really has much negative press, if that makes sense. And I want to look a little bit more at some revenue. So if we look at revenue for Big Bear, we are seeing from early 2024, we're seeing increased revenue, which is a good sign. We also know that we also see that net income. Sometimes these can be tax things at the end of the year, so we can't always make too many assumptions, but it looks like it's been a little bit volatile on the net income. Operating income, what I thought was interesting in the financials is we had better cash flow and we had better free cash flow, which is a good sign for a growth company. And so what's my opinion on Big Bear? My opinion is the reason I invested in Big Bear isn't because it's a great company right now, right this second, and producing billion-dollar quarterlies. My thesis continues to be with Big Bear that it will get there someday. And I like the company. I've had, you're not supposed to love a stock, but for some reason, I've just always been gravitated towards Big Bear. I like that the company isn't in scandal. I like that there's some humility to the company and that they seem to be making waves. They're in airports already. They have the trust of the U.S. government. You have an administration that's going to be very focused on defense and using companies like AI and Palantir, BigBear.ai, different AI companies to keep an edge in the technological landscape in the world. So my thesis is unchanged. And if you want to know my honest opinion, I hope that this stock sells off. I hope that we see, as we can see in after hours, it's down at 361. And to me, anything under 4 is just, I'm going to keep buying. Anything under 3, I'm going to back up the truck for BigBear.ai. So that's how I look at BigBear.ai. And now I want to talk about a stock I've never talked about on the show. I did have one of the community members of Quantum Bull point out this company, and I am personally interested. I've talked about it many times on this channel, the security side of quantum computers. And it looks like SealsQ is positioning themselves as a quantum resistant secure microcontrollers and trust service to protect digital assets in the era of quantum computing. So this one is super intriguing to me. And at first I want to talk about kind of what they do. And then I want to go into their financials. I want to look at their jobs, the inventory. We're going to cover a lot. We're going to do a deep dive. So it looks like one of the recent catalysts for SEALSQ, where we saw a huge move. So we saw a move of 22.5% from open in the trading day. And that was a letter from the CEO who basically highlighted significant financial and strategic developments, and that the company will release its 2024 audited financial results by March 21st, 2025. So I did look over that CEO letter. Let's see if I can pull it up here. So in this letter to shareholders, looks like they've eliminated all convertible debt balances and all warrants. Looks like they've cleaned up their balance sheet. $93 million pipeline. Transitioning toward next generation quantum resistant semiconductor technologies, we are strategically positioned to capitalize on industry-wide transformation. So me as an investor and me as someone who's just obsessed like compulsively with quantum computers, this is such an interesting space to be in, which is the space of quantum resistant technologies, right? Because that's the thing, is we're going to have in a not so distant future quantum computers that can break our current encryption. That means social media, financial sites, that can find our passwords, that can find the secrets, find things that were never meant to be found, can be digitally surfaced. And when we have quantum computers capable and powerful enough to break RSA encryption. So it looks like this company is positioning themselves to be a player in that game. I did look at the job openings. It looks like they're hiring a chief technology officer, a firmware engineer, a digital design engineer, tools and provisioning, and senior application engineer. So they're not hiring a ton, but they just got their balance sheet right. And that's actually potentially a good thing if they can continue to produce a good balance sheet and work towards building technologies that are going to make the world more quantum safe. It's going to be a huge market really quickly. So I think that they're positioning themselves in a great way here to capture that market. The first thing that banks will do, that financial institutions will do, that big companies will do is like, oh shit, quantum attacks are happening. They're going to run to companies like SEALSQ to make their company quantum safe. So let's take a look at financials. So revenue, we had a steady increase in revenue, and then we had a drop off here in 2024. If we look at the 3-month chart, it looks like SEALSQ had a good run. We know that here was a quantum crash, and now it's trading well below its quantum crash price. It's trading in the $2 range. So when we look at the net income, we see income is down. We see operating income is down. Free cash flow is looking healthier. Operating cash flow is looking healthier. And it looks like they're more weighted towards assets than liabilities. So what sort of price action have we seen lately from SEALSQ? Well, we saw the huge move. So let's just measure the move from March 4th, which is 2 days ago, to now. So we've seen a 47.45%, 48% move. This is a significant run for SEALSQ and LAES. This is a significant run for this stock, and it looks like it's gaining momentum. And when you consider, again, the wider market, which was red, and we have a couple stocks on the quantum watch list like SEALSQ and Rigetti, it does make me wonder, with the upcoming catalysts like NVIDIA GTC and Quantum Day and Qubits 2025, how these stocks are going to fare late March, early April. So I am very intrigued. Let's just say that I will be opening a position in LAES, LAES SEALSQ Corporation. All right, everyone. So that is everything. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you do appreciate content like this, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. It really helps me out. And I hope you all have a good day. Good luck in the markets.